Hello, welcome to our virtual classroom. Today's lesson is on multiplying by 0 and 1. We're going to start with 0. Okay, so the 0 property of multiplication says anything times 0 equals 0. So if you have out your your classwork side of your NJCTL paper, these are the first few questions. Okay, we're going to work through them together. So the first one says 12 times 0. 12 times 0 is 0, right? So anything times 0 equals 0. So I'm going to put a 0 here. Then for B, we have 9 times 0 equals, you got it, 0. Now I'm going to give you about 30 seconds to go ahead and try the next two. So C says 0 times 5 and D says 0 times 1. Go ahead and try those on your own. Did you get it? Easy, right? So 0 times 5 equals 0. Now notice how the 0 comes first in this one. Does it make a difference? No, because anything times 0 equals 0. Okay, same for the next one. 0 times 1 equals 0. Pretty easy, right? All right, so we're moving on to number 2. Number 2 says, what is the name of the property for problems A, B, C, and D? So the property is called 0 property of multiplication. This says that any number times 0 equals 0. Pretty easy, huh? All right, let's move on to another easy property. The next property says it is called the identity property. The identity property says that when a number is multiplied by 1, it stays the same. So when a number is multiplied by 1, it stays the same. Okay, let me take this one up first, and it'll be back here so you can look at it when you need it. Okay. Okay, so let's look at number 3, E, F, G, and H. I'm going to clear my board while you get to that section. So, letter E says 12 times 1. Letter F says 9 times 1. Letter G says 1 times 5, so they switched it up. Remember, it doesn't matter because anything times 1 stays the same. Okay? And H says 1 times 0. Let's see what happens when we get to that one. Okay, so here's our problems. So let's do letter E together. So 12 times 1. Anything times 1 remains the same. So 12 times 1 equals 12. Okay? And you all know that 12 is my favorite number. The next one says 9 times 1. 9 times 1, pretty easy, right? Because it's anything that is multiplied by 1 remains the same. Okay, so 9 times 1 is 9. Now, I'm going to give you a couple seconds. I want you to try the next two by yourself. Now, when you get to H, don't let it trick you. Okay, they're trying to trick you. look at what it says, okay? So I'm going to give you a couple seconds. Try the next two on your own, and then we'll come back together, okay? Okay, are you done? If not, you can just pause the video. Unlike when we're in the classroom, you can pause me, okay? All right, let's look at G. 1 times 5. Okay, anything times 1 equals 1, correct? Or sorry, anything times 1 equals itself, okay? So 1 times 5 equals 5. Now here was the tricky one. The only exception to this rule is with 0, because anything times 0 equals 0. So even if it has the identity property, number 1, it doesn't matter. The 0 property of multiplication takes control of that number 1. So anything always times 0 equals 0. So 1 times 0 is 0. Okay, so they try to trick you a little bit on that one. I hope that you were able to get that. So number 4 says, what is the property for solving problems E, F, G, and H? Well, it's the property that we just learned. The identity property of multiplication. And the reason it says of multiplication is because before, when we were doing place value, we had the identity property of addition. But now it's a different property when we're talking about multiplication. So when a number is multiplied by 1, it remains the same. So for number 4, please write identity property of multiplication. Okay, take a second and write that. While you write that down, I will erase. Okay, so the next problem says, so we're on number 5 now, okay? It says draw a picture of the multiplication problem 3 times 1 equals 3. Now remember, it's blank, groups of blank. So if it says 3 times 1, that means it's 3 groups of 1. Okay, so if we're going to draw a picture of 3 groups of 1, we need to draw 3 groups, right? 1, 2, 3. And how many go in each group? Correct, 1. So you can draw a little dot, maybe you want to draw a triangle, heart, whatever, as long as there's only 1 in each group, okay? So you can either draw this picture or you can draw a picture that you would like, but that looks similar to this one, okay? Go ahead and draw that, and I will get set up for our next problem. So this is our last problem, okay, for this worksheet. And then I'm going to set you on your own to do the homework section, okay? Go ahead and write down 1. Okay, number 6 says, Mrs. Yarbs brought a snack to school each day for 1 week. What would be the multiplication number sentence to show how many snacks she brought altogether for this week? So there's something that we need to know here. Okay, she brings 1 snack every day for 1 week. So, how many days does 1 week have? Correct. 1 week has 7 days. So she brought 1 snack for 7 days. So the way to complete this problem is we're saying 1 snack for 7 days. Okay, so the multiplication problem for that would be 1 snack for 7 days. And because of the identity property of multiplication, anything times 1 remains the same. So that means that she brought 7 snacks for 1 week. Okay? This completes the classwork side of the zeros and ones worksheet. I will be checking to see if you've copied this down and if you've done your homework. So this is video 1. I know it's not super professional, but it's the same thing that we would do in our classroom together. So make sure you hit subscribe on my channel so you can get the rest of the videos that I'm recording for you. Okay? Now we might not go in order, but at the beginning of each video, I'll let you know what sheet to have out. Okay? Good luck. Remember, tell your parents to reach out to me, Dojo, or email if you need any help. I miss you, and stay safe, okay?